and producing an ebook, don't you think? Teach what you know. If you know a lot about whatever niche you're in, create content, give it away, sell it, put it in a membership program. The point I'm trying to make to you tonight with this is you can get people's attention by giving them content that helps them. And when they get helped or entertained, their problem solved, they share it. Now let's talk about attention. The name of my book is Attention, This Book Will Make You Money. And if it sounds like I'm kind of yelling at you, I'm not. I'm just really into this. As Wade can tell you, I'm really a fan of what I do, and I get into this. So I'm sitting here at my desk, and my hands are moving around. I am extremely passionate about this. This is nothing fake. You can't fake this type of enthusiasm. I believe, and I love telling people about this stuff. And that's what my book is all about. It's about getting attention so that you can turn it into sales. And revenue is more than sales, okay? Revenue could be ebook downloads, list signups, conversions on affiliate links, retail store walk-ins. Revenue is not just a sale on a cash register. There are hundreds and hundreds of ways you can define revenue, okay? In our example, we're talking about conversions. I want to talk about Jones Soda. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of a company called Jones Soda, but it's a great company out of Seattle. And about 7 years ago, I think, they had an idea. The owner of the company, his name is Peter Van Stolt. And he's driving around one day in his car, and he's thinking to himself, boy, I'm a $20 million company in the soda business, and my biggest competitors are Coke and Pepsi. And Coke and Pepsi collectively spend about $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion on advertising. So I'm only a $20 million company. How in the heck am I going to grow my company and compete with Coke and Pepsi? And these are the types of thoughts that every small business owner has. Because he didn't have the money. The company's only worth $20 million total. So he said, I wonder what would happen if I got creative. And he sat in his car, and it was around Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was coming up, and he said, I wonder if I made a soda that tastes like turkey and gravy, would it get noticed? So he called up his lead engineer, and he said, make me soda that tastes like turkey and gravy. I'll be back in the office in a week and a half. So he got back to the office, and the engineer had the soda ready, and he tasted it, and he said, this is disgusting. And he put it in a bottle and put a label on it, and did press releases about it, and the buzz got so huge that they sold the limited run of it in a day or two. They got so much publicity from it that they had to start doing more runs. They started making new flavors of soda, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. Now, remember what I told you before, emotions create reactions. When I do this in a live environment, one of two things happens when I tell people the Jones Soda story right there. Half of the room laughs, and the other half goes, ugh, that's disgusting. Emotions create reactions. If you can create an emotion in somebody like Jones Soda did, you can get them to spread the message for you. Unless you want to continue to spend money on advertising for the rest of your life, these are the things that each person in this audience needs to be thinking about. How do you get the attention of somebody? One of the ways to do that is to be different, because nobody remembers the middle. Did you ever hear of a guy named Matthew Lesko? Now, usually about 2 people in the room actually know who Matthew Lesko is. If I told you he was the question mark suit guy, and he's the weird guy you see at late night television with the green suit with the black question marks all over it, you'd probably go, oh, that guy, right? Matthew Lesko is a master marketer who's been doing it for over 35 years wearing those suits. He's got 8 of those suits that he wears all over the world. And you're saying to me now, Jim, well, big deal. He goes to his hotel room, he puts the suit on, walks down to the lobby, does the show. And no, I interviewed Matthew, and I've gotten to know him. His car has question marks on it. He has 8 of those suits. He goes to Target. He wears the suit. He puts the suit on in his bedroom. leaves, drives in his car, goes to the airport, walks through the airport in it, gets on a plane with it, wears it all day, all night, everywhere he goes. And Matthew said, and by the way, he said he's been on Letterman 7 times. He's been on Oprah. He's been on over 3,500 television shows because of that. And he said to me when I interviewed him, he said, you know, before I did the suit, Jim, he said, no one would pay attention to me. I was a science teacher, and the kids, no one would look at me. And I just remember the feeling when I tried to branch out, that how no one would pay attention to me until I put that suit on. And at first they all laughed at me. At first they all wouldn't let me on their shows. He goes, nowadays, if I tried to take this suit off, they will not let me come on their shows. That's what they want, because nobody remembers the middle. If you are in the middle, if you have 10 competitors and you are in the middle, nobody remembers you. Why in the heck should I do business with you if you're in the middle? What is unique, better, different about your business, about you, your business, your packages, your pricing, that makes me want to do business with you? Everyone watching this webinar right now needs to ask themselves that question. Are you in the middle? Is there anything memorable about your business? Anything memorable about what you do? One of the funniest things I ever did back in the day was I had some packages where I sold web design. And I had the package A, package B, and package C. But I also had package D. You know what package D was? It was everything from package A, B, and C, but it was also $30,000. And one of the line items on it was, I was going to be your butler for a couple weeks. And I would always use that package and go, well, you can always go for package D. I know it's $30,000, but it includes me coming to your house and being your butler for 3 weeks. And it was a great way to get people to remember who I was, to get people to laugh, to create an emotion. People love that. Some people were like, I don't get it. That was like 1 out of every 100 person. And that is the big thing we're going to talk about next here. Because there's this one thing that's stopping you from being different, that's stopping you from being successful, that's stopping you from being profitable beyond your dreams. You're a $100,000 a year company right now, and you want to be $1 million. What's stopping you? I'm going to make this argument that possibly it's your ego. Because a lot of people are really worried how they look over profit and revenue. Matthew Lesko has been doing 35 years of getting people to open their wallet looking like a kind of a jerk. Does he care? No, because he believes in what he does. Jones Soda didn't care that people thought they were a novelty soda company. Now, I'm not telling you to put on a green suit and run around screaming and try to get customers. What I'm telling you is that if you have the potential to come up with one fun, creative idea to change your business forever, are you going to try it, or are you too worried about what your ego is telling you? Don't do that. You'll look silly. No one will like it. People will laugh at you. You'll lose all your clients, on and on and on. If you're having trouble getting sales now, I got to tell you, what do you have to lose except your ego? Your ego, it's sitting in the back of your head, and society has fed it all of these years and said, don't be different. Be like everyone else. Do like everyone else is doing. Don't change anything. Don't try to think creatively. Just do what everyone else is. Be in the middle. Be safe, because safe is where you'll build a long-term business. And that's true partially. But if you ever want to go from point A to point B and truly excel and grow your business, you're going to have to start taking that ego and smacking it down and go, look, I got to give this a try. I'll give you one quick example, and then we'll move on. I got hired by a company that was going out of business. They knew they had about 6 months left of payroll, had about 35 people on staff. And they hired me to come in and analyze why the heck they were losing to their competition so much. Very old school company, 42 years in business, whatever it was. Owner of the company, very old school gentleman. It was like sort of like an ad agency type of place. So they were losing to their competitor badly, and they were running out of time. And they brought me in, and I analyzed their business, and I analyzed what their competitor was doing. And I came in, and I did a presentation to the CEO, the board, and the staff, and they basically threw me out of that place. And the CEO of that company looked at me and said, I would never, ever, ever do any of those things that you told me I needed to do to stay in business. And it wasn't like I told him he needed to put on a question mark suit. I told him he needed to change his advertising, get a little more creative. I told him he needed to change his business model, the way that people were accepting it. I told him that he had to stop being in the middle. And he threw me out of that office, essentially. I got paid because I charged him up front. Don't make that mistake, right? Always get paid up front. He was out of business in 6.5 months because his ego was too big. He cared more about what people thought about him and about what he knew was right, even though times had passed him by. I don't want that to happen to anyone in here. I want you to be super successful. I want you to be super wealthy. I want you to generate tons of conversions. But you're going to have to remember these basic rules that I'm giving you today about emotions, about conversions, about being on the outside, on the edges, and letting that ego get out of the way. We're going to wrap up here with some information about this company. One of my favorite companies to analyze, and I don't know if you've ever had it before. It's called 5 Hour Energy. Now, I don't drink caffeine, so I don't need energy drinks. So I've never had one of these things. But I was reading a New York Times article about this. And 5 Hour Energy just intrigued me because I read the statistic in the New York Times, and the statistic said New York or 5 Hour Energy owns 70% of a $700 million market, the shop market, the energy shop market. And I was like, what? $700 million market, and they own 70% of it. By the way, who else owns 70% of a market? Google, right? They're the Google of energy drink shots. And I thought to myself, how the heck do you go from nothing to 70% of a $700 million market in essentially a year or two? And I analyzed their business, and I came up with these 5 things. Number 1, say what you do. If you're going to build mini sites, if you're going to build businesses, you can keep your corporate name, but you want to build a brand that says what you do. If your package is the mega traffic package, you're probably going to want to call it mega traffic package. 5 Hour Energy. What does it do? It gives you 5 hours of energy. One of my favorite websites of all time is a site called IamAlandingpageDesigner.com. Normally in the room, I ask people, what do you think that person does?